Latsho kamnandi igwijo sozulivo elitsho njengegwijo lase Ekhaya Jikelele. Mbukeli ke masibulise sipotise kumakhaya ngamakhaya sinamkele kwakhona ngoku singena kwiyure yethu yesithathu neyokugqibela yenkqubo kwaye ke asifike silambatha sisenayo nje into esikuqhushele yona. Kodwa ke ngaphambi kokuba singene kule yure masikrobise kule manqaku esithe sawenza ngaphambili i-ANC lungiselela umsitho we-January 8 statement oza kubanjelwa pha eMpumalanga. Kanti ke kulindeleke ukuba uqoqosho kweli luqhubeke ukuma ndawonye kulonyaka kuba ilizwe lisingise kunyulo lonyaka ozayo. Kanti ke siye sanalo nodliwanondlebe nekhondo lophicotho zincwadi sabanalo ke kule yure singena kuyo isendimlo kaloku andikatshintshi ukholosa kalubisi nonkanyezi umadlokothi maziphuma mshukuma umazondwa ngezinto zakhe ndihamba naye uJalisto mamjali.
Mbukele lokugcina ncikelela ihora esilidikadikayo ayigijimidla magalane lenqolo esihamba ngayo kukhona ke othi he lapha eThekwini iParalim dayisela amanapukeni hayi uyalitshela ke iPara ukuthi hey umuntu wakithi anginangane ke angeke ngikwazi ukuthenga lamanapukeni hayi uthi iPara vele athi hey sisi ngizokuzamela nengane ozoyiqhokisa lamanapukeni thenga bo. Omunye ke mbukeli ke yena uthi ke watshela umngani wakhe ukuthi udinga umsebenzi uthi hey ngendlela senza ngayo uthi ngisho kuphuma ama-post ama-pilot awodokotela hayi ugela uthumelela kwasani. Igama lohlelo ke Ekhaya Jikelele kanti lami nguNonxolo wakwaMwali ihlabana limhlophe qwa intokazi yale ondini ngathi sishamthetho sesifundazwe esidala ake sibheke indaba ehamba phambili kuleli hora lethu lokugcina.
ANC, it is fixed from inside. Yeah, we've got problems here.
Namhlanje kuhlangana iminyaka eyikhulu kanye ne-12 inhlangano ebusayo kuleli African National Congress yasungulwa. Umgubho weqembu elibusayo uzobanjelwa ke eMbombela, eMpumalanga.
Kanti kwezemidlalo onozinto bafana uthi bazimisele nokuba bafikelele kwisiqingatha sokugqibela sendebe yezizwe zase-Afrika kule nyanga yomqungu.
Unobhala Jikelele we-ANC ufikile Mbalula uthi njengeqembu elibusayo bazophosela inselelo iqembu elibizwa nge-MK. Uthi leli qembu lasungulwa ngoNhlaba wanyakenye. Umbalula ukusho lokhu ngesikhathi iqembu lakhe lilungiselela umcimbi we-January 8 statement ozobanjelwa eMpumalanga.
Unobhala Jikelele we-ANC ethetha nabaxhasi bombutho uvumile ukuba lo mbutho ujamelene nenhlaningi yengxaki kodwa baza kuzilungisa ngaphakathi.
ANC, it is fixed from inside. Yeah, we've got problems here. Sinamageza nabantu nje uthi umjongile nje uthi yo lo i-problem.
Uthi libothusile kona inyathelo lwayisakuba ngumongameli umnumzana Jacob Zuma lesibhengezo sokuba uza kuvotela umbutho wumbi kunyulo lukazwelonke kulonyaka.
I-surprise lento kaMsholozi. And we have been tested here ukuthi are we equal to the task. And asizumenza i-manifesto yethu JZ.
Umbalula uthi okungenani uZuma ngesiphakamise ngendlela ephucukileyo isikhalo sakhe ngakumputho kungenjalo ngakumongameli womputho.
If Jacob Zuma as our former president have got a grievance with Ramaphosa, he should have raised that grievance with us. Asikelele ukuthi balwa ngantoni.
Uthi okuphambili kwi-ANC ayikokurhwempana kothile koko kuqhubisana nemingeni ejamelene nelizwe efana nocimicimi wompane nohanjiso lwenkonzo.
Abantu base-South Africa abafuna ukwazi ukuthi sixabane ngantoni noZuma, bafuna ukwazi ukuthi siyigqiba nini i-load shedding. And sizayigqiba i-load shedding.
Ukanti qala ngomso umhla ukusekwa imibhiyozo ye-African National Congress kuquka umsitho osiko lwekhekhe kumongameli walomputho umnumzana Cyril Ramaphosa eMbombela logama umsitho omkhulu ungumhla we-13 ngalomgqibelo kwipala iMbombela eMpumalanga. Obebhala kwindaba ze-SABC Ndinkundimphiwe Gift Nongqotho.
Kusenjalo usekela mongameli we-ANC uPaul Mashatile namanye amalungu ekomiti yesigqeba Jikelele bebeyinxalenye yenkonzo embombelana njengoko belungiselela ingxelo yeJanuary 8 ezakunikezelwa ngumongameli Cyril Ramaphosa ngomhla we-13 kaJanuwari. Mashatile uthe eliqela limaxhaphethu ngokuzivuselela okungaphandle kwabaxhasi.
Bethabatha ixesha lokunqula uThixo amalungu ekomiti yesigqeba sajikelele bathabathe ithuba lokuya enkonzweni. Iinkokheli ze-ANC zithi eli ayilophulo lithile leliqela kodwa bakwenza oku ngokuba i-ANC yasekelwa enkonzweni. Usekela mongameli uPaul Mashatile uthi kunabaxhasi ngaphakathi nangaphandle kweli qela lilawulayo kodwa kunjalo abazokuphumelela kwaphela.
Our house is still standing, 112 years, because it's built on a strong foundation. And I said, like any family, you have family members who behave in a particular way, and I said others will want to break windows, others kick the doors, but there are those of us who are rebuilding, renewing, and this house will never fall. And I meant the ANC.
Kusenjalo umphathiswa wezobulungisa nenkonzo zoluleko uRonald Lamula uthi iqela lezomthetho leli lililungele ityala lenkundla ngakuSirayeli liza kuba ngolwesine ozayo.
We regretted the Rwandan genocide because it happened during the elections in our country. So it is an important decision that South Africa has taken to The Hague to stop the genocide that is currently happening in Gaza.
Kwakhona uLamula wongeze ngelokuba iGuptans zityholwa ngokucwangcisa ukubamba umbuso ngobhongwane yaye ozibiza njengomprofeti uShepherd Bushiri useza kujamelana nengalo engqingqwa yomthetho yeli. Ukwathe sekuqaliwe nenkqubo yokumbuyisa ekuqhwesheni ukuze ubulungisa budlale indima.
Kulindeleke ukuthi umnotho wakuleli uqhubeke ukuma ndawonye kulonyaka ngenxa yokuthi izwe libheke okhethweni.
Lo ngunyaka apho abemi beli bajonge kunyulo kwaye ingcali zezoqoqosho zithi oku kuza kudala intandabuzo kude kubekho urhulumente omtsha. Ezintandabuzo ziza kubangela ukungazinzi kubatyali mali kweli, nto leyo eza kongeza kwimiceli-mngeni ebangelwa ngucimicimi wombane nezinye ingxaki. Unjengalwazi waseVets Business School uYane Rousseau uthi oku kuza kubangela ukuqhwalela kuqoqosho kulonyaka.
In the period up to the elections, there will be a lot of uncertainty, and thereafter a new government will have to be formed. So unfortunately, 2024 will again be a year of low investment in South Africa. As a result of that, economic growth will not accelerate very rapidly, and therefore poverty and unemployment will remain a major problem.
Oku kungangunobangela wokwehla kwamandla emali nokungakhokhelela ekubeni ibhanka enguvimba yehlise ixabiso lemali nzala kwisiqingatha sesibini kulonyaka.
We see economic growth at 1.6% for South Africa, and then we are seeing inflation to drop in the second quarter of 2024.
Ingcali zezoqoqosho zikwathi ngelixa kubonakala imininzi imiceli-mngeni eqhwalelisa uqoqosho izinto zingajika emva konyulo.
Ubomi kunye nelifa letshantliziyo elingasekhoyo elichasene nocalucalulo nomfoti uGqirha Magubane bazokubhiyozelwa kwinkonzo yamakatolika iRegina Mundi eSoweto eRhawutini namhlanje. Lo mfoti ongasekhoyo wamkelwa kumazwe ngamazwe ngomsebenzi wakhe ebonisa umzabalazo phantsi kolawulo lorhulumente wocalucalulo kweli. Umsebenzi wakhe ushiya uMzantsi Afrika unovimba obanzi ochaza umzabalazo wenkululeko welizwe.
Sakungenelele iParliament malungana nesigameko sokweqa ejele kaThabo Bester owabedonsa isigwebo sokudlwengula kanye nokubulala. Icala lika Bester ke mbukeli lindele ukuthi libuyele enkantolo kulenyanga.
Ipalamente iye yeva ukuba ukuqhwesha kukaBester kwakucingiwe kwaye kukho neempawu zokuba wancediswa ngamagosa akwa-G4S. Le nkampani yakwa-G4S yazama ukucacisa ngokuqhwesha kukaBester.
We were unable to identify whether these two individuals are G4S staff members, Mangaung prison officials, or whether they were inmates.
In actual fact, some of the things that you would have spoken to, they contradict one another. The times don't speak to each other. For me, it's pure lie.
Kodwa amanye amalungu asepalamente axelela isebe lezobulungisa ukuba isivumelwano sengqesho nenkampani ka-G4S masinqunyanyiswe.
There's definitely something going on, and I think as a committee we do need to take strict recommendations after this.
Ulamola wavuma ukuba waxelelwa ngo-Okthobha walonyaka uphelileyo.
Justice Cameron informed me that it appears to him this exceed probability or credence, but it's an investigation that is underway from themselves as JICs, but there is also investigation by both the South African Police Service and the Department of Correctional Services.
Ngexesha ephendula imibuzo yamalungu asepalamente, uLamola wacela uxolo kumaxhoba kaBester, kodwa engavumi amakhwelo ukuba abeke phansi intambo emsebenzini. Kwiindaba ze-SABC, Dingubulelani Philip epalamente.
Kanti mbukeli masibene sikurhabelise kwakhona kuqikelelo lwemozulu. Nijonge kaloku uba ngabani kupha kwindawo ezipha ko-KZN eziphaluka kuba ingathi zikhona iindudumo ezinobungozi ezilindelekileyo. Rhabulani nifince.
Siphinde sikwamukele ke mbukeli lapha ekhaya Jikelele, sibonge kakhulu ngokuthi ke usahlanganyele kanye nathi. Kanti ke njengamanje sekuyisikhathi ukuthi ke sibheke ke indaba ezindaba mlonyeni lapha yana ku x.com. Ama hashtag awumabili athi nje #Mbalula kanye no #Mzimande. Ku #Mbalula ke unobhala Jikelele lo we-ANC ufikile Mbalula uthi akudikizi ngisho enqolweni kuleli qembu kulandela ukusungulwa kweqembu i-MK Party elesekwa ngwabe umengameli kuleli ke uJacob Zuma. Umbalula ubekhuluma esithangamini sabe indaba ngaphambi komhlangano wekomiti lesigungu esiphezulu ke kuleli yaqembu.
Kanti ke ngenyanga yoMnga uZuma ubhengeze isigqibo sakhe sokukhansela nokuvotela umbutho womkhonto wesizwe endaweni yombutho we-ANC eseleke ilikhaya lakhe iminyaka engaphaya kwama-60. Nangona ke kukho ingcebiso zokuba oku kungachaphazela amanani ombutho olawulayo kuvoto, uMbalula uthe i-ANC igxile kwiphulo layo lolunyulo. Make sive ke bukela into yokubana abathe baphefumla phaa kumakhasi onxibelelwano baphefumle besithini. uNjabulo Nzimande uyaphendula esithi ke yena, the biggest question is why they didn't stand with Ace Magashule if they stood for Zuma with Nkandla scandal. Now they stand with Ramaphosa on Phalaphala because they also know that he is guilty. His words today proves that they know Cyril is guilty. uNjabulo uyabuza into yokubana owona mbuzo ungagungqiyo uTshotshentla kukuba kutheni nje bengazange bame naye uAce Magashule ubangaba bazawumela uZuma ngethuba kunela mdubedube wapha eNkandla. Uthi ngoku bame kunye noRamaphosa kwiskandal sasePhalaphala kuba bayayazi into yokubana akekho msulwa. Sizimvo zabantu ke bephefumla phaa kumakhasi ka-X. Chunce besijonge abathe babhale besithini.
Utobilo yena uthi he is indirectly admitting that Cyril is wrong in many aspects, but lobbying the membership to support him since that is how it was done in the past. This raises the question of integrity and credibility. Sizeke omunye olandelayo ukuthi noPaul wathini.
A student of revolutions naye uthe wahlomla phaa kwikhasi lika-X esitsho ke yena into yobana destroying the ANC is easy. Just give Fikile Mbalula a mic and an audience. Be rest assured he will embarrass himself and the organization. Uyatsho into yobana ukutshabalalisa lo mbutho we-ANC kulula, nikeza nje uMbalula umboko nezihlwele zabantu. Qiniseka ke uba kwenzeke njalo uzawuzihlaza ahlaze nombutho lowo. Asazi noba ukhona nawo wokugqibela okanye siyiqwela ngaye a student of revolutions. Right, siqola ngaye ke a student of revolutions. Chunce besijonge ke i-hashtag yesibini ethi #Nzimande. Kanti ke mbukeli kuphinde kwahlatywa ikhwelo lokuba umphathiswa wemfundo ephakamileyo uGqirha Blade Nzimande agxothwe. Umbutho ke i-South African Communist Party usebenzise isikhumbuzo sonyaka wama-29 wokubhubha kukaJoe Slovo ukhanyela ke nokuphana ukubandakanyeka kobuqhophololo kwi-NSFAS.
Ekhuluma eSoweto ngomgqibelo phela unobhala jikelele we-SACP uSoli Mapayila udalule ukuthi akufanele ukuthi igama le-SACP lisetshenziswe ngendlela engafanele ukufeza izinhloso zabo. Lokhu ke kuzemva ukuthi inhlangano i-Undoing Tax Abuse isole uNzimande ngokufuna inkokhelo esikhwameni sesibonelelo sabafundi i-NSFAS. Baphawulile ke abasebenzisi baka-X.com u-advocate Sifundo Mbambo uthi resignation alone is not enough, he must be charged. The SACP has to return that money that was ill-gotten. The late Jackie Silebi is the only former cadre to be jailed for a crime that many are guilty of. Paulile futhi omunye mayelana nodaba lwe-hashtag.
Uyatsho uLegal Legends uthi we need to do for South Africa what we are doing for Palestine. We are fed up with money-hungry, lazy politicians who do nothing but steal, while hard-working South Africans cannot afford the basics. Uyatsho into yokubana eyona nto kumele yenziwa for uMzantsi Afrika yinto esibona isenziwa for ilizwe lasePalestina. Uyatsho into yokubana bonele yeyokosa ngabantu ebonakala into yokubana balambela imali kwaye ke babonakala nongakhathali osopolitiki abangenzi into for uluntu kodwa bayaqhubeka nokweba. Ngapha siyabona abamimba uMzantsi Afrika bebila besoma bengakwazi nokufumana iziseko ezingundoqo. Chunce besijonge mbukeli othe wabhala ubhale esithini phaa ku-X.
uPinky uthi how many times have I said Minister Nzimande and the entire board of NSFAS ought to resign over their destruction of educational dreams of children in poor and majority African. It was always clear there was corruption in awarding those service providers tenders to disperse funds to students. ayike mbukeli ke sibamba lapho ke bese niphathele zona ezindaba mlonyeni lapha ku x.com uphinde ukhumbuleke phela mbukeli ukuthi lezi lokhu kuphawula ngokwababukeli kanti iSABC lihaye iSABC kanjalo nekhaya jikelele ngeke baphawula ke ngokukhononda okungase kuvele ngayo
injalo kanye uthethe inyana uMamtshali masithi qhwisiye entengisweni kodwa ke sasibuye mbukeli sizawungena ngendlela kaloku ngathi ugcine impilo yakho njengoko kaloku sikwinyanga yokuqala kaJanuary kodwa ke mbukeli masithi qhwisi bhatala amatyala ungagunqi ubukele ekhaya jikelele
My family, we are guests in a house that offers no refuge. Half-seated on couches of discomforts, like we have already overstayed our welcome. And yet the elders are angered by how we wander off and stray so much. Nothing ever called us back home after dark. None of us can even recall the warmth of a home in this house. A matriarch divided and raised us at odds with one another. To my beloved cousins, at times I mourn our curious playful youth. We shared all there was to consume. Playthings, food, that thin slab of mattress with our arms outstretched to the bare floor and our dreams pressed against our tiny chest. I mourn the light inside of us that dimmed. Because all we've grown to learn is to mock each other when one's cup of shortcomings runneth over and spill. I suppose we are not children anymore. We no longer eat from plastic plates. We know now that fragile things like loyalty, they break. Even the mere exchange of dialogue between us, it crutches on limping forgiveness. And I have been a vagabond for as long as my age has permitted. I have found a home around the arms not of my own. Indeed, sometimes blood is runny as water. And for all the offerings we have slaughtered to appease our ancestors, we seem to chase them back to the hills with the noises of our conflicted spirits. We submit more offerings to usher them back in. Burn the sage, light the colored candles, speak unto them the bestowal of family peace, only to have our hands at each other's necks again. I have figured not all our misfortunes are curses. Some are concealed wounds from family feuds as old as the firstborn's wisdom tooth. It was on the day my uncle got married. For the first time, a gathering not to mourn a death but for a celebration. The neighborhood street was littered with my family's joy. The matriarchs, they must have worn and changed it to 3 outfits that day, as if to soak each with all the aroma and its white smoke, with all the intoxicated memories and good stories to be told. Their bodies danced and moved as if to capture the sparks of every fleeting moment where all of this was orchestrated for their own special days. Their faces were canvases of uncontained happiness that was long promised to them by men who have fallen short. The soothing melodies that lovers sing to one another in their forever songs. And so after the occasion, I kept asking myself, why does love in this family insist on dragging boulders tied to its ankles? And to the young ones, growing with looming defiance in their eyes, groomed with second-hand spite, I hope that you grow and learn how to roll out a welcome mat for your kin. Offer them a seat that holds no past discomforts. And be a home to them. Be a home to them that offers ever-extended refuge.
Sibonge kakhulu ku-Afrika Dlamini ngaleyo nkondlo athe wasinika yona lapha ekhaya Jikelele mbukeli. Kanti bangabeke siqhubekela phambili ke ngozindaba esiniphathele zona. Umengameli we-ANC uCyril Ramaphosa usempumalanga ke kuleli sonto use-Louisville njengoba ke ezobeka imbali ethuneni ka-Enos John Nganani Mabuza. Ake simcoshe bukhoma ke mbukeli.
Celebrate the commencement or the formation of the ANC. We are very pleased that throughout the province there are other pilgrimages that are ongoing to the various burial sites of our past leaders who have contributed, and that in many ways is going to give us inspiration as we also go to the bigger celebration on the 13th at the stadium, when we will have thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands and upon thousands of our members, our supporters, and our people in general who are excited that this organization that has waged a struggle for 112 years is still alive. It's still strong. Aifanga and aisabiluto. It fears foko. It is strong, and nomabanye bati no sehuqa ngamadolo. Ayihuqi ngamadolo imile. Njengoba nami izolo bebethe no ngilele phansi sengisesibhedlele ku-ICU. Ngiphile saga futhi. Fit as a fiddle to continue with this struggle of ensuring that indeed our people get a prosperous life. There are many challenges, but the ANC has never had a moment when it has never faced challenges. It has always faced challenges, and it has always succeeded. It has always emerged victorious. Bayathanda noma abathandi bazoyibona kahle African National Congress. Sila sizothatha amandla. We're coming here to take strength. We're coming here to consolidate our vision. Sihlanganisa amathambo. Ukuthi, as it said in Ezekiel, umoya uphinde ungene kulamathambo, and uma umoya ungene kulamathambo uqinisa i-ANC. So we're very pleased to be here, and we now proceed to our other festivities and our other activities that we're going to embark upon with great strength, with great fortitude, and with greater focus. So here we have come to draw focus. We've come to draw vision. We've come to draw strength. And strength is what we are taking away with us here. So thank you very much to the Mabuza family for welcoming us, for opening their gates, their doors, and their hearts to enable us to be here. Mama Mabuza siyabonga futhi. Ngijabule kakhulu ukuthi ngibe lapha. Sizothi njengoba sihamba no amamengo awakavuthwa kahle. Besizawuthi masiphuma lapha omunye nomunye wethu ayezophuma namamengo. Kodwa siyabonga ukuthi ubaba nimbekela under a tree. He is in shade and his soul is still with us. Siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you very much.
Comrade Jackie Masia is the one who's doing the vote of thanks. Wase Hlanzeni Chairperson. Okay.
Lawo ke mbukeli ke izithombe leze sizibonayo lapha uyena ke umengameli uCyril Ramaphosa oqeda ke kukhuluma lapha na ebonga nje ke nomndeni uyephinde waphawula nokusho ukuthi abaningi bathi ANC iguqa ngamadolo ayikho iANC eguqayo la uthi ANC isame nje imenze uyaqhubeka ke lo mcimbi ke wokwembulwa kwetshe lapha nesikhumbuzo ke lapha ya eLouisville okwamanje ke mbukela sinje ke qhu $8 sizobuya emva kumzuzwana.
My father used to reminisce like a well-traveled storyteller. His stories were archived between the wrinkles of his time. And sadly, these were stories of suffering, longing for solitude, stories of wandering, yearning for a bit of truth, how his words often hung something heavy, how he would casually make jokes about death, as if to awaken a room full of dying people. His honesty was too blunt to speak the least of. His ashy voice, his rusty cough, his crackling heart, it sounded as vintage as a boombox when it beats. A bundle of wires for a beard, an armor for shoulders that hung his towering frame. It is safe to say my father was a simple man, a two sides to a coin kind of man. And I am yet to meet anyone who can adjust so well to the piling weight of his grudges, just as long as he keeps them. He had the habit of weighing the sins his children shall inherit by the breadth of his shortcomings. So what gives in this world? To men who have lived on bent backs and bitten souls, sheltered by a falling home, consumed by their glaring failures. A part of me wishes my grandmother was a bit more gentler. The old lady was tough as nails on the coffin that kept her secrets. Even on her deathbed, she laid reluctant to redeem herself from refusing my father his last name. And after his mother's passing, I watched how my father rocked himself to sleep. He tossed between his worries, bothered with the withering of time like a peeling antique. All the anger he harbored for his mother was now his and his alone to keep. And after his passing, I understood how at times our chest can become abandoned buildings, how the death of parents can create ghost towns out of us, the living. Now we have all scraped our childhood floors searching for our lost innocence. My father's last attempt at this was learning how to forgive his mother. My mother used to tell me not to use the word broken so often. I suppose some things are not as bad as they seem. Some men have learned to walk as they bleed. I have known my father as a man who treads through midnight to their fall and has told me stories for the blisters under his feet. I know of journeys traveled by a man who held the sunrise at gunpoint. I live to remember his name as tombstones weather.
Wow, washo kamnandi uAfrika Dlamini ngenene imboni okanye imbongi ayiphikiswa sibambe ngazibini Afrika. Hlabele mgama ke mbukeli singene kuphononongo lwencwadi. Ugqirha Matheo Motsitsi wazalelwa waze wakhulela kwilokishi yaseSoweto. Ukwangumbhali ke kunye nomshicileli wencwadi yakhe ethi Odyssey of the Healer esekwe kuhambo lwakhe olungomoya kunye nokuzifumanisa. Uquletheke ntoni le ncwadi kwaye ithini okanye uthini umyalezo wayo? Ukuva ke ngakumbi ngayo sinaye uGqirha Matheo Motsitsi ulapha e-studio. Gqirha, masikubulise sikwamkele enkqubeni.
Ngiyabonga mntanami.
Ninjani?
Cha sikhona.
Nathi siyaphila apha ekhaya Jikelele kusekhaya likhaya lakho neli wena Gqirha. Ndiyathanda into yobana sifumanise ngesihloko, that is the title of this book. Yintoni mhlambe yakhuthaza itayitile yale ncwadi?
The book is based, ngizokhuluma ngesingisi nangesizulu, okay? If the audience, they don't have an issue with that. Incwadi is based on my spiritual journey. From an early childhood, mangkhula, I realized ukuthi I had a special calling. Like most of us, lapha, we find that we have a calling. So you go through different ways to find yourself. So I went on a spiritual journey, exploring different ways of coming to know myself. The questions I was asking myself was, who am I? Ngubani mina? And what's the main primary purpose? Because I realized there were certain things. Man is bigger and coming to understand myself. There are some differences. So it was an exploration of knowing myself and then working with other healers, our Babu Credo. Another person who contributed a lot in coming to know myself, the late Professor Herbert Vilagazi, whom the book has been dedicated to.
Wow. I must say that you have worked with custodians of African spirituality. I mean, when you mention the likes of Otata Ukredo Mutwa, and I mean, what you've just touched on, Uti, who am I? The importance of knowing your identity. And we live in a world where abantu define especially looking at materialistic things. As defining anazo. Why was it important for when with knowledge of self, who am I, and basically your spiritual identity?
You know, we all come and enter into la emhlabeni umntana megezalo. If you've been into a labor ward, they come with their hands closed. It means you come into this world, you enter into this world carrying your gifts with you, and you come with a purpose to izandla zakho usivule and contribute to the welfare of others, and also to your well-being. So that question came because I realized by mistake. We all come with a purpose, and once you find your purpose, waking up in the morning, it's no longer a burden. We are vuga and you're doing what you love the most, and it brings pleasure. You're not caught up in the red race. Most people are caught up in the red race, and Bapila impilo based on the ideology and the perception and probably the programming of other people. You need to know yourself so that you become, I wish I had the Zulu word, but you can translate. You need to know yourself, uzazi, so that you become the architect of your own reality. You become the architect of your own reality instead of people dictate to you, hamba kanje, yenza kanje, pegale, jigale, yabo. You become, you build your own world. You don't allow others to build the world. Within this world that we live in, there are other worlds. It depends ukuthi umoya wako uvuleke to that extent ukuthi you can see beyond your sensory. You know, when you perceive things, you perceive things fed by your sensory experience. It just gives you a tip of an iceberg. What you perceive fed by your sensory experience, which means your eye, what you smell. It's just a tip of an iceberg, because within the world that we live in, which we think it's a reality, it's just a tip of an iceberg. There's more into it. But amehlo kafanele ukuthi avuleke.
Ndikuva kahle ngesixhosa uthi uyingqonyela, that is you are the CEO of your own reality.
Yes.
Ndikuva kakuhle and kule nto ithethayo into yobana you are not limited by what your physical senses are showing you, because you look beyond that, which is the spiritual eye. I want to touch kwenye womba othe wawuchaphazela kule ncwadi othe wanvuyisa kakhulu. You speak about ukuhlonipha ihlabathi jikelele, that is Mother Earth. And I mean zizinto ezi singathi into yobana zijongelwe phansi njengokusitsho into yobana thina our focus is only this world esicinga uba mhlawumbe iphelele, kanti there is the other world. Why was it important for you to highlight into yokubana siluluntu we must pay homage, we must respect ihlabathi, we must respect Mother Earth? Kuba ndiyabona uvule nangaye the goddess of rain uNomkhubulwane.
May I read the poem from the book?
Please, with pleasure.
The poem was written by Professor Herbert Vilakazi. So I did say that, okay, I don't have my glasses. Will you read it for me?
Hey, okay, I will. Goddess Nomkhubulwana, sing, oh ancestors and Goddess Nomkhubulwane, the story of Africa and humankind. Sing, ancestors and Goddess Nomkhubulwane, the story of Mother Africa. How Africa gave birth to humankind. How this lady, Mother Africa, raised and nurtured infant humankind. How Mother Africa gave strength, culture, knowledge of goddess and gods, and knowledge of good and evil. How Mother Africa gave drum, dance, voice, laughter, music, and play to humankind. Ndifuna nje kuyimisa le ndawo so that bayifumane le ncwadi bayirhabule bayive. Wow. Ndiqhubeke?
Wema.
Sing, oh ancestors and Goddess Nomkhubulwane, the untold story of Mother Africa and humankind. How some of her children grown to adulthood left Mother Africa for distant corners and far regions of the world, and the changed skin color, hair, and size of nose and lips. Sing, oh ancestors and Goddess Nomkhubulwane, how some of these children grown to adulthood, having forgotten their original relationship with Mother Africa, came back abused, heaped contempt, and violated their own mother, and like maiden Ajax, chained, drew blood, killed, and took their own brothers and sisters to be slaves in distant lands.
It's a very touching poem, and even more appropriate now when you consider what's happening globally in our planet Earth. By the way, our planet, Mother Earth, it's called the blue pearl, because around our planet, when you view it from the sky, Pezulu, it has a blue aura. So it's called the blue pearl. So when you look at what is happening in the world, there is so much that we are made to believe, Uguti, there's a lot that divides us in comparison to that which unites us. If you understand, Uguti, Africa, the motherland, is the cradle of humankind. Noma baphume lapha Africa bagcwala all the continents, all of them, they trace their roots and origin from their so-called Mother Africa. Irrespective of the skin color, the nose and everything, and the race and everything out there, that is creating wars and division and tribalism, racism, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, Simunye, we are one. Because we're all born and we all emerge from the continent Africa. During the period of Gondwana, long time before the continental shift, all planets, our planet, it was only one continent. And at the center, the heart of this planet, it's in Africa. The heart of this planet is in Africa, Africa where humanity was birthed. So why should we be divided and believe that we are divided based on skin color, gender, race, nationality? So that's the crux of that poem.
Profound. I mean, you speak about a lot of things. Izinto ezenza into okubana singabumbani singama-Afrika kodwa sinto enye. I mean, this is the information gqirha endibona into okubana kungaba kuhle kakhulu if it can be included in our history books, especially looking at ezikolweni abantwana bafunda history, but you look into okubana history abafunda ngayo history yamanye amazwe. With this book, I know that you want to enlighten Africans. You want to bring them to self, to know themselves. And phakathi kwezinto ongathi mhlawumbe uye what is it that you are hoping to achieve?
I'll just respond to powerful words of wisdom that you've just said. You wish these children could know our history. Remember, maybe we need to go back to who writes the history. History is written by victors, those who go around and conquer. They will write the history and make you believe that their history, which they write about you, that's the real history. So maybe we should be talking about the change of the education, which is used to actually program and make us think that as an African, we should look down on ourselves.
How do we break the barriers? How do we decolonize the education?
When you know yourself and you know who you are and you know your purpose and you know your origin and you are not fed by the stories out there, you reclaim your power from within because you know yourself, because the power doesn't lie out there. The power lies within you as an individual. Everything external is meant to program you. And when you are programmed by something outside of yourself, you will serve the master who's programming you.
You speak about reclaiming our power as the African people. You've written this book. I want to talk about the reception. You know, I mean, abantu abathe bayirhabula bayifinca le ncindi othe wayibhala kule ncwadi yakho bathini umgama okanye indlela ezithe zavuleka ngayo ingqondo zabo.
I wouldn't be able that will have to be somebody speaking about me.
It will be like you are blowing your own.
Yes, I mean, Ubaba Credo contributed also in my own journey, the late Ubaba, which I pay homage to so much. Ubaba was instrumental, and Ubaba Credo always emphasized Uguti. If we can wake up, savuga. When I talk about African, please people understand, I'm not talking color. If you know your origin, it doesn't mean being black means you are an African. If you know you belong from Africa in a sense that Africa is the cradle of humankind and we are all one and we are all united, and you understand your origin, you will reclaim your power. It has got nothing to do with race, gender, or nationality, because at the end of the day, sizalwe from the same womb. And because of the climate and everything and migration, we change. But at the end of the day, when you notice that the one whom you regard as inferior to you based on skin color, because yours is a little bit fair, it's wrong, because at the end of the day, what made you fair is because of the climate. Less exposure to the sun. And then those were more exposed to the sun. So at the end of the day, which womb do you emerge from originally when you trace your roots?
Uthetha apha ngobawo uCredo Mutha. We know that, I mean, he advocated for African spirituality.
Yes.
Through his prophecies, through his art. But it's so sad because he even said that a man like me is never loved. A man like me is never respected. Do you feel like as Africans we are shying away kwezi voices that speak to us as Africans? Because if you look at uba uCredo Mutha, ngenene nangenyaniso imbali yakhe zange ithathelwe ingqalelo, kwaba ngathi ukubhubha kwakhe ubhubhile nje. I-prophecies zakhe zange zilandelelwe. And ndiyathanda into yobana usirhobisele kuba kule ncwadi yakho, how do you address the pandemic of mental slavery that continues to hinder us as black people to reclaim our power and also honor those who came before us?
You've said a mouthful. Firstly, I'll address the first part. Ugutu Babu Credo was not given the respect or recognition. There's a saying, a prophet is never a prophet in his or her home country. You'll never be recognized where you are born. You'll be recognized outside your home country. And that's the norm. I don't even think I'm recognized in my home country. I'm probably being recognized more outside my home country. So that's the norm. So you should not be seeking for recognition.
Yeah.
Deliver the mandate, do what you came here to do, and don't seek recognition, because umhlaba will never give you recognition. But when you know your purpose and your mission and your mandate, you'll be aligned with the higher purpose and the plan of the universe. And you will deliver accordingly, because you here as a beacon of light. You come here, you are not seeking anything outside yourself, because you already have it in you.
Profound alignment. Once you know your true self, your identity, everything we align. Thank you so much for joining us. Ngenene na ngenyaniso nababukeli ngiqinisekile into yokubana bazawuthanda ukuyifumana le ncwadi. Mhle kakhulu umsebenzi owenzayo. Hayike mbukeli lo besithetha naye nguye uGqirha Matheo Motsitso, umbhali ke nomshicileli wencwadi ethi Odyssey of the Healer, esekelwe kuhambo lwakhe lwasemoyeni kunye nokuzifumanisa njengesiqu. Hayike mbukeli ekhaya jikelele, siziqola ke siziqonqotha ngolo hlobo eza namhlanje sibambe ngazibini ngokuba usekunye nathi. Masithi ke qhwi pha evenkileni qiniseka mbukeli into yokubana awuhambi ubukele ekhaya, sesizawuvala kodwa.